No kings and no brains. Let's check it out. And welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. As a country, we had a pretty embarrassing weekend. A large contingent of our dumbest set out to freely protest against the leader of this country who they claim has anointed himself a king. They didn't let the results of the last election talk them out of wasting a beautiful Saturday while freely protesting as much as they wanted, as many as they wanted, unfazed by the realization that the fact that this was even allowed destroys their entire reason for actually doing it. Because you can't protest the king in a place that has a king, as we all know. The loony left doing what it does best, feigning oppression.
Everything is at stake, everything. And I'm paralyzed at home.
Trump has made the transition into becoming an authoritarian leader. It's almost at the point of no going back.
I see what's going on in our country, and I'm just appalled.
He is dismantling every safeguard that we've had for our country and our democracy.
We will shout, we don't care if he never gets out. We will say, no to his king plan.
As Trump would say, we didn't send our best. One thing to know about these people is that they will never let us all live in peace. It is in their DNA. The stronger that society gets, the more prosperous, the more inequity they perceive. The left are why we cannot have nice things, why we'll never be able to live in a peaceful and safe society. New York City in 2013 was a great example of that. After 22 years of Giuliani and Bloomberg, you could eat off the sidewalk in Manhattan. Rather than continue that progress, Bill de Blasio wins in a landslide, claiming the reason New York had gotten so nice was because black people were being racially profiled, using his black son as a prop. De Blasio happily ushered in the return of crime and misery to New York, and New York leftists couldn't wait to trade a safe, prosperous city for one that makes criminals feel less oppressed. Once you realize that, you understand these people. You understand that they hate prosperity and safety. They hate a nice country. They do not want a country that ends crime, that deports illegal immigrants and things like that, that makes it nicer and safer. They don't want to have good schools and all these things because all they see is inequity. Once you realize that about this crowd, the kinds of people that were out there on Saturday, once you see that for what it is, it becomes much easier to ignore them. You realize these people are morons, and most of them are also communists, which makes it even funnier. They worship an ideology that literally cannot survive without totalitarian enforcement, while they scream, no kings. Pol Pot, Mao, Stalin, the heroes of the so many out there screaming this weekend, no kings.
This is what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like.
Standing up to a wannabe dictator, that is patriotism.
The truth is that Donald Trump is the most corrupt president in the history of the United States of America.
We are confronting the possible end of our republic. No thrones, no crowns, no kings.
We're going to tear up the crown.
Trump's response to all of this, not unexpected at all. He reposted a video made by somebody in the MAGA world depicting himself as a king in a fighter jet dumping feces on the protesters. We'll show you some of it right here. There goes the jet. There's the king right there. And here comes the poop. It rains down on a city. And there's Harry we were just talking about with Carl. That's him in the front of the protest video there. As you would expect, this got a huge reaction on social media, including the perfect person for us to point out reacting to it, the former host of Meet the Press, who was very obviously fired for being too partisan and replaced by Kristen Welker, who's a little less hostile to conservative guests. I give you Chuck Todd.
He retweeted this meme that essentially had a AI personification of Trump flying a plane and dropping poop on America, flying over major cities and dropping poop. Seriously? Really? At times, it's as if Donald Trump has been 13 his whole life. What he thinks is humorous. And it goes to this larger issue, why the Republican administration, why Donald Trump does not believe he's president for all the people. He really only believes he's president for his base.
Just a president for his base, says Chuck Todd, who has spent his career posing as a journalist while dragging this country as far as he can to the left. Maybe you can argue Trump's reaction was childish, but can you really blame him for being frustrated over this nonsense after what he's been through? They're screaming at him as a king. You know how irritating that must be to hear for him? In the past couple years, Trump was targeted by the most anti-democratic, anti-American tactics we have ever seen. You'd think there was a king on the other side. The king was Biden. He survives that assault and then wins the election in a landslide, and they call him the king. They tried to bankrupt and imprison him, and he wins the election in a way that is not even close, and then they call him a king. Adam Schiff flatly lied about Trump to subvert the mandate of the people in his first election, and then joined a blatantly un-American, very partisan congressional investigation to look at January 6th. Schiff constantly shows despotic tendencies. Here he was at No Kings.
We are gathered today to say we will defend our democracy, we support our democracy. Hell no to kings. Hell no to kings. And I thank you for being here, because it is a million acts of patriotism that we're seeing all over the country today, of courage, of speaking out, that are going to save this country.
God, he is the worst. Adam Schiff there. Not that anybody cares. There's no meaning to any of this nonsense. It's just the latest astroturfed anti-Trump protest du jour, funded by the darkest of money, the worst of money, intent on destabilizing the country. This money came in from people that want to see this entire country burn to the ground. And all of these idiots are just their pawns. And isn't it funny how malleable those pawns are? The exact same people who proudly voiced their hatred of this racist country on stolen land for so many years now just flip. It's the same people. It's all the same people. They're now so patriotic. We saw so many American flags at this protest. It's actually weird to not see them lit on fire, as we are used to from this same crowd of morons. Even Liz Warren flexing her patriotism. This was really good. Tweeting a video of the protest scale and size in Boston, saying Boston has been defying kings since we threw the tea into the harbor in 1773. Yes. Socialist Liz Warren, Pocahontas, who wants to tax you and me and everybody else at about 90% so that she can have full control of the wealth of this country and disperse it as she sees fit. Liz Warren romanticizing the Boston Tea Party. That's how fake and ridiculous all of this is. What was that tax? About 1%? Liz Warren celebrating that, trying to identify with the Boston Tea Party. That's how fake it all was. Benny Johnson, host of the Benny Johnson Show, joins us now. Good to see you, Benny. Let's start with Liz and just the stupidity of this weekend.
Yes, so we have a new term on my show, Rob, which we are going to coin tonight, and I hope that your audience appreciates it. It's called Grand Tifa. We think that that's the major makeup of the No Kings protest, because we noticed something pretty remarkable, and it was also noticeable there at the rally in Boston, for instance. The local news reporters are saying, wait a second, like, this is clearly not a movement of young people. These people are Q-tips. This is very, very old, what's been happening here. And my theory is this, Rob, which is that nursing homes, which are filled with people who romanticize the 1960s and 70s and the Marxist revolutions of those days, they need something to do for activity hour. And they've got to have something safe and free. And so they can just wheel out their residents, hand them a sign directly out of a George Soros van, and those residents can go and march for a little while, or walk in their walkers, or roll in their wheelchairs, or their rascals. And that is why you see predominantly no young people at these protests. But one other thing that you don't see, and the reason why you don't see young people, is that young people want something to look forward to. They want something to be encouraged by. They want a future that they can look to. And that's nothing that the Democrat Party is providing. They're providing the same old communist playbook that they provided in the 60s and 70s.
Some horrible people at these rallies, too. And you're right, I noticed how old it was. There were a few younger people, and we saw one protester seemingly mock the assassination of Charlie Kirk in a video. It appears she's a school teacher in Chicago. The video right here. I mean, just what an awful person. And in every definition of the word awful, you could say right now that that's one of them. Others outright threatening the lives of cabinet members. Take a listen to this.
Who are you going to kill?
Nazis.
Who do you define as a Nazi?
What do you mean? It's pretty...
In this context, who's a Nazi?
Stephen Miller's a Nazi.
So you're going to kill Stephen Miller?
If I had the chance, yeah, I would.
I don't know if that's something I'd say on camera, bro.
Interesting crowd, right?
Good question for you, Rob, which is, this is, by the way, something that was repeated by Stephen Miller, something that was repeated by Robert De Niro on MSNBC this weekend, is that Stephen Miller, Jewish Stephen Miller, with his Jewish family and beautiful Jewish children, that he's a Nazi somehow. Is that anti-Semitic? I don't understand it. Somebody's going to have to explain that to me. That individual says they want to kill Stephen Miller because he's a Nazi. Somebody's going to have to explain. Somebody please make it make sense. Yeah. But it purely is just visceral hate. These are the people who are educating our children. These are the people who are marching in the streets. This woman is reenacting Charlie Kirk's murder. She's a teacher at a K-8 school in Chicago. Again, there's no way to explain this other than good versus evil, darkness versus light, godliness versus godlessness. And these are not the people. Homeschool your kids, man.
Right. I know. That's the scariest part, especially in a place like that. I want to get to one more thing before I let you go. We all know Trump narrowly avoided the second assassination attempt at the golf club in West Palm Beach. Only just a few minutes away is the airport in West Palm Beach, where the Secret Service finds a hunting stand in a tree right across the street from the south side of the airport. And if we take a look at a map here, I want to show everybody just to show you, this is nowhere that anybody would ever hunt. This is a very populated area. You can see, parking lots right there, cars. That's where the tree stand. I mean, nobody's hunting deer in this area, Benny. And this is just maybe a couple miles away from his golf club, where he was nearly killed and would have been killed if they hadn't found, if the shot hadn't hit him in Pennsylvania. That guy would have clearly got him. How scary is that?
Yeah, where do we draw the line exactly? A man was just arrested and indicted for trying to kill my family. I'm sure that you get death threats constantly. At what point do you start believing them when they tell you who they are? Just like the orc who's sitting there trying to do a Charlie Kirk death reenactment, these people, they're not ashamed of it. They're proud of it. And if they weren't proud of it, if they don't fully embrace violence, they wouldn't be calling and voting for a man who's saying he wants to kill Republican children for the Attorney General of Virginia. Something that we need to constantly be talking about. When somebody tells you who they are, believe them. And when somebody is hideous on the outside, they're also hideous on the inside. These people truly are ugly. And it's something that we have to accept as a society, that the left has gone full-scale violent.
Yeah. Hunting stand right there across from the airport, had a clear shot of where the president comes in and gets off the plane when he starts going down to West Palm Beach and Palm Beach, which is right about now as we get into winter. Benny, thanks so much. Good to see you. Appreciate it.
Scary times. Yes, thank you.
It is. Seamus Bruner is the Director of Research at the Government Accountability Office. Seamus, good to see you again. You've been tracking the money of these left-wing protests, all funneled through what you call Riot Incorporated. You give a number, something like $300 million. I had no idea there was this much money in left-wing protests. Explain what you found.
Yeah, it's great to see you, Rob. So for the first time ever, we did a full cash analysis of every single one of the No Kings partners and official organizers. I mean, that's close to 200 organizations, and what we found was kind of shocking numbers. We didn't think that this would be, the numbers would be this high, but we chose the Soros, of course, Open Society Network. We chose the Arabella Funding Network, which gets a ton of money from Soros and Gates and Zuckerberg and others, Tides, and several others, including some of the foreign funding networks like Neville Roy Singham. And yeah, it was $294 million. That's according to the most recent IRS 990 forms. We went through thousands of pages of IRS forms. It feels really silly. But the thing is, these organizations are going to be around moving into 2026. They're going to be ramping up. A lot of these groups were involved in the Tesla takedown, the hands-off May Day events that turned violent. A lot of the anti-ICE riots are all these groups participating.
It's amazing what you dug up here. And just so we can really, kind of push the irony of all of this, what is the general ideology of these groups as far as basic human freedoms, of Western freedoms, of capitalism and things like that? What ideology do the people that paid for No Kings tend to all have?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's the irony and the parody here. I mean, it's bottomless. But yeah, think about how many people were holding up no billionaire signs. And you've got George Soros, you've got this Swiss billionaire, Hans-Jörg Wyss. I mean, these groups are all funded by major billionaires. So they don't want, Elon Musk is who they're referring to. Yep. But it's their billionaires and their kings. And the other irony here, by the way, Rob, is their candidate, Kamala Harris, was nominated without a single vote. I mean, that's monarchical behavior right there.
So many examples of it. Great stuff, Seamus. We appreciate you coming on. Good to see you.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, conservatives demanding Curtis Sliwa drop out of the New York mayor's race, the Republican, and let Cuomo, the independent, have a chance to save us from the communist. Sliwa joins us next.
Just before Charlie Kirk died, he issued a stark warning of terrifying dangers ahead. Charlie wrote this in the foreword for the new book, Pagan Threat, by Pastor Lucas Miles. Charlie said that Pagan Threat could save America and that you must read and share this book. A #1 Amazon bestseller, Pagan Threat is available everywhere. Get Pagan Threat free with Newsmax's special offer and save $30. Go online today and read Charlie's final words.
Protect your family. Buy LifeVac now.
Thank you, Daddy.
That was us over 10 years ago.
Now LifeVac is responsible for saving over 4,000 lives from choking.
In the time it takes you to pick up the phone and call, another life could be saved.
The LifeVac saved my life in 1 to 2 seconds.
Protecting families has always been our mission. I'm sure you love your family like I love my daughter. Do us all a favor and get your own life back now.
Go to lifevac.net or call 877-LIFEVAC. Order now.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. America's jobs and growth are at stake.
Back in the day, you bet sinners just to get boards.
Word.
Now I take them to make threes.
Today's NBA stars, everybody does everything.
Ant-Man, SGA, Luka, dudes playing 1 through 5.
Bigs dishing out like family dinner.
Woo! Got me smashing triple doubles. Shaq, basketball, not burgers.
New customers bet $5 and get $300 if your bet wins. Paid in bonus bets. Plus, get 3 months of NBA League Pass on us. The crown is yours.
Hey, Josh, it's Christmas, man. What are you gifting? Gifted.
Josh, where are your pants?
Was the heart before Christmas and before the night's done. Shooting guard Josh Hart will gift everyone. In his Tommy John underwear, he glides down the stairs with last-minute gifts to show that he cares. Stuck for ideas and don't know where to start? Go to TommyJohn.com and...
Gift from the heart.
All right, so here in New York, we are 2 weeks until this election. Everybody is totally freaked out by this 34-year-old, totally unaccomplished communist who wants to run the most important city in the world. Zoran Mamdani's been on his best behavior recently. He's saying everything right, trying to just calm nerves so he can sneak into office and into power and unleash whatever form of Muslim Marxist hell he can think of on the world's beacon to capitalist freedom. He had a big slip-up, though, posting online with an unindicted alleged 1993 World Trade Center co-conspirator, Imam Siraj Wahhaj, on the right in this image, photographed smiling with him arm in arm, and that's just the reality. That's a terrorist sympathizer and an unindicted co-conspirator in a World Trade Center bombing back in 1993, and just all love. You've got New York billionaires like Bill Ackman and John Catsimatidis throwing their support behind Andrew Cuomo at this point. It's seen as the Hail Mary, right? They don't like Cuomo, but he's the only chance at stopping Zoran. The New York Post agrees. The editorial board saying today, Swallow the bitter pill. Get out. There is no way that you can win to Curtis Sliwa. Rudy Giuliani disagrees, though, telling Curtis Sliwa, the Republican, to stay in the race. Here's Sliwa's response to those like Bill Ackman saying he needs to get out.
Ackman is a jerk. Has he been right yet? Here's a guy who goes up to Newport, Rhode Island and thinks he's a professional tennis player. Come on, Ackman, stay in your lane. If somehow I lose, and we know Andrew Cuomo's lost, he's already tossed in the town. Oh, it's because of you, Curtis. Because of, really? It's because of the Democrats.
All right, so the Ackmans of the world are afraid that Sliwa is taking the vote away from Cuomo, which is what all the polls indicate. A new one from City AARP in Gotham showing that if Sliwa drops out, the Republican drops out, you got 44-40 Mamdani versus Cuomo. It gets really close. But as it remains right now tonight, Mamdani gets 43%, Cuomo falls to 28%, and Sliwa at 19 points. Curtis Sliwa joins us now, and it's good to have you back on the show, sir. I want to start by saying I'm a fan of yours. I like your politics. I like you. But I also have to live in this damn city. And as much as I do respect your politics, it does feel like right now in a three-way race that we're just walking right into a tornado 2 weeks away.
Well, Rob, it's the Democrats who created that. They made Zohran Mamdani. Andrew Cuomo lost to him decisively in the primary. And now you're thinking that Andrew Cuomo can be the savior. I'm sorry. I am the Republican candidate. I had 30,000 people who signed up to qualify me to be the second major party candidate. And I am the law and order candidate, of which Andrew Cuomo is the architect. But what? And Zohran Mamdani is the apprentice to no cash bail, raise the age, turn criminals loose from Rikers Island. So again, I am the legitimate Republican Party candidate. Major party candidates don't drop out for independents who are losers to begin with.
I understand that, but what do you say then to this polling that indicates that if you're the one that drops out because you're in third place right now, that a lot of it does move to Cuomo? At least it's a chance. Right now, I as much as I like you, I don't think this is not a conservative city. I like you, but most people in this city don't like you, and I just don't want to just walk right into the Mamdani administration and tear this place apart and have all the crime.
Rob, let's get real here. The most unlikable person in this race, according to the polls that you want to believe in, by the way, that were wrong during the primary, that had Andrew Cuomo up by 40 percentage points over Zohran Mamdani, who beat him decisively. His unfavorability is Andrew Cuomo. People don't like him. He killed the people, 15,000 he never apologized for. He's responsible for the crime crisis. He can't reinvent himself. We'll have another debate tomorrow night, and we will discuss the issues. And I whooped him and Zohran in the first debate. You saw that, Rob.
Yeah, I thought you performed well. It was an interesting debate. I think most of the attention was on the other two. I just wondered, do you think that you can win? I mean, tell me you really believe that you can win and that you're not just trying to, if we get a communist for the next 4 years, you're in a better position because we're going to swing back the other way in 29, because that's what I think I'm most concerned about.
Rob, let me be very clear for you and everybody out there. I know I can win. I'm out in the streets. Your guy, Andrew Cuomo, hasn't been on the campaign trail for 10 days. Look at the New York Post article about that. You can't win an election unless you're out in the streets pushing flesh. All he's got is the billionaires. Have the billionaires been right yet? Be honest. Have they been right yet?
They haven't been right, but I get it. Listen, I like you. I get it. I'm also common sense. It's frickin' New York, and you're a Republican. I mean, it's like, how the hell do you win in this city as a Republican?
Excuse me. Did Rudy Giuliani win?
Long time ago.
Did he win in 93? Did a guy, George Pataki, that nobody knew beat the better Cuomo Mario the next year? On the day of the election, he was 14 points down, George Pataki. There was no early voting. He beat Mario Cuomo, the better Cuomo, by 3 percentage points. I'm supposed to have faith in polls that have been wrong every step of the way, and billionaires who should focus on Wall Street because they know nothing about the streets of New York City. Rob, I'm the candidate. Whether people like it or not, they can vote for me or they might not vote for me. But I believe you trust the people to make the decision. I never heard of this before. One person, one vote, but we let the billionaires decide and everybody else drops out. Is that democracy, Rob?
No, I don't disagree with a lot of the points you're making. I'm just trying to be pragmatic about saving this city from this idiot communist that's going to roll in here in 2 weeks. Or, well,
You know
finally
what?
walks in
Tell
the
Andrew Cuomo to go out and start campaigning and get his vote out, because he's now all dependent on me. What does that say about a campaign? That you can't even get your own vote out, you're not in the streets, and you're depending on billionaires who have been wrong every step of the way.
Trust me, I'm not a fan of Andrew Cuomo. I don't know how he lost that primary, and here he is trying to keep up now. We'll leave it there.
You know how he lost the primary? Yeah. In his own words, I didn't campaign hard enough, and he's doing exactly the same thing again. Look, he had his shot. He's one and done. It's me versus Zoran Mamdani. We have energy. We're going door to door. We have a get out the vote effort. I haven't seen anything of a Cuomo get out the vote effort. So I'm supposed to drop out for a loser who destroyed the state, and you want me to give him an opportunity to put the last nail in the coffin and destroy New York City too. It's not going to happen. Let the people decide who the next mayor is.
All right, Curtis Sliwa, we appreciate you coming on, sir. Thank you. Thanks for the fight. All right, coming up next, Dr. Oz, who handles Medicare and Medicaid for the Trump White House, debunks the narrative, the healthcare narratives that are being spun as Democrats keep the government shut down.
I switched.
I switched.
I switched.
I switched to Newsmax.
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 Have you made the switch?
You bet I did. My whole family switched.
Millions are switching to Newsmax. You should too.
You'll find them in cities, towns, and suburbs all across America. Millions of people who have Medicare and Medicaid, but may be missing benefits they could really use. Extra benefits they may be eligible to receive at no extra cost. And if you have Medicare and Medicaid, you may be able to get extra benefits too through a Humana Medicare Advantage dual-eligible special needs plan. These plans have a $0 monthly plan premium. Call now to see if you qualify. With a Humana Medicare Advantage dual-eligible special needs plan, you could have doctor, hospital, and prescription drug coverage, plus extra benefits in one convenient plan. Most plans include the Humana Healthy Options Allowance. Get over $1,000 a year. That's $85 a month to help pay for covered over-the-counter items like vitamins, pain relievers, first aid supplies, and more. Your allowance is conveniently loaded onto a prepaid card each month, and whatever you don't spend gets carried over to the next month. Ask us about all the items your allowance may cover. Plus, you could get other important benefits. All plans include dental coverage with $0 copays for covered preventive services, vision coverage, including eye exams, and a yearly allowance to use towards eyewear, and hearing benefits with routine hearing exams and coverage toward hearing aids. Plus, hundreds of prescriptions have a $0 copay, so you'll pay nothing for them all year long. And you'll have access to Humana's multiple large plan networks of doctors, hospitals, and pharmacies. Best of all, if you have Medicare and Medicaid, you may be eligible to enroll in a Humana Medicare Advantage dual-eligible special needs plan right now. So if you have Medicare and Medicaid, call now to see if there's a plan in your area that could give you extra benefits. But now is the time. The annual enrollment period ends December 7th. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Healthy aging support starts here with the innovative nitric oxide science pioneered by Human, supporting your body from the heart out through circulation, blood flow, blood pressure, and energy. Results you can feel, science you can trust. Get started today at livehuman.com.
Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America. Most investors believe their IRA, 401k, and bank accounts are reliable and safe. But what if our economy becomes so dire that you're restricted from accessing your own money? The fact is that should your bank be in trouble for holding bad loans, the burden could fall on you to help bail them out. Even more concerning is that U.S. financial regulations allow banks to impose withdrawal limits on your hard-earned savings. But there's something you can do about it. Our team at Swiss America has a report called The Secret War on Cash. Learn how to protect yourself with assets that can remain outside the control of banks and other financial institutions. For over 40 years, Swiss America has been one of the most trusted metal firms in the country. So don't wait. Call or text the number on your screen today for financial peace of mind in these uncertain times.
Welcome back. The Vice President, J.D. Vance, heading to Israel to help try and hold on to this ceasefire tonight after 2 Israeli soldiers killed by Hamas in southern Gaza after a militant cell had emerged from a tunnel, fired at an excavation vehicle. In retaliation, Israel halting the transfer of aid in Gaza and struck Hamas targets across the region, the enclave, killing at least 26. 16 hostage bodies remain in Gaza tonight. That's another violation of the peace deal. Hamas claiming they're unable to reach some and don't know where others are. Hamas executing Palestinians as well, thought to have been cooperating in Israel. We've seen a lot of videos of this in recent days. You get a crowd of people around, which is a reminder of the kind of mentality and ideology that exists inside of Gaza, cheering as they kill people. Trump earlier on the peace deal violations. Take a listen.
We made a deal with Hamas that, they're going to be very good, they're going to behave, they're going to be nice, and if they're not, we're going to go in, we're going to eradicate them. I don't believe it was the leadership. They had rebellion in there among themselves, and they killed some people. If they keep doing it, then we're going to go in and straighten it out, and it'll happen very quickly and pretty violently, unfortunately.
Victoria Coates is a former Deputy National Security Advisor to the President and joins us now. Good to have you here on the set, Victoria. Your concerns here, everybody's obviously very nervous about this because it had such a great foundation to it. We're already seeing little issues, though.
Indeed, but that foundation still holds. And what's different, Rob, this time around is we have the whole Arab world, with maybe the exception of the Iranians, and they're not Arabs, lining up behind President Trump and also behind Israel. Everybody's agreed to this 20-point plan. We've not had that before. We've had disparate plans that don't come together. But in this case, we have everybody else besides Hamas behind this plan. So that unity seems to be holding. We have Vice President Vance, as you said, going to the region tonight. We have Special Envoy Witkoff going. We have Jared Kushner going. The president's putting his best people on the ground behind this thing to show that commitment.
And the meaning of that, I guess, would be that, Hamas obviously is going to have flare-ups. There's a lot of fighters still left in there, but at some point they have to run out of resources, right? If they don't have their daddies in Qatar or wherever, if the money's not coming into them, at some point they starve and dry up. And is it just a matter of waiting for that to happen?
Well, it already is happening because the Israelis have taken out all of their leadership. And then when you have the Emir of Qatar sitting behind the President of the United States in Sharm el-Sheikh 2 weeks ago signing this deal, the Qataris aren't going to save Hamas anymore. They're not going to coddle them. They're going to read them the Riot Act and say, this is how you survive. So that's what's different now. I do think we're going to be in a situation where we take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But as long as we're taking more steps forward, we'll get there.
We'll get somewhere. Real quick before I let you go, Colombia is now on this list of South American countries that are on the president's list. Venezuela was first. Now he's going after Colombia. He's going after the president. What do you think he's trying to do here? Obviously drugs are a big part of it. He's trying to kind of clean up some of these really bad nations in South America?
Absolutely. And Colombia is such a sad story because 10 years ago, they were one of our best friends in the region. They were a bulwark against illegal immigration, against the drug trade. Then President Gustavo Petro came in 5 years ago. He's turned that beautiful country into a hellhole. And we have elections coming up in March next year in Colombia, rather. I think the president is giving the people of Colombia a stark choice. Do you want to be friends with the United States, with all of that partnership has to offer? Or do you want to be friends with Venezuela, a failed narco state?
That's interesting what he's doing there. Victoria, good to see you. Thanks so much for coming in.
Great to see you, Rob.
All right. The government remains shut down tonight as Democrats try extorting Republicans over Obamacare subsidies. The failed signature of Obama's term at the height of COVID under Biden in 2021, Democrats passed the American Rescue Plan, which just temporarily, they said, extended free government help to pay for insurance, so government money to pay for insurance to people with incomes 400% above the poverty level. Yet families making $500,000 a year that were getting help from the U.S. taxpayer to pay for their health insurance. But now Democrats are refusing to let those subsidies die and claiming that any cutbacks to this is going to double premiums and kill thousands of people. Take a listen.
We're fighting on behalf of the American people and what they pay every month for health care. It's a worthy fight.
Unfortunately, Republicans refuse to sit down to negotiate an extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits, and they have no interest in addressing the health care crisis that they've created.
Studies show that when you throw 15 million low-income and working-class people off health care, 50,000 people a year will die unnecessarily.
All right, Dr. Mehmet Oz, Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrator for the Trump administration, joins us now to talk about this. Sir, it's good to have you on. We keep hearing the same talking points. The government's been shut down for a while. Give us, what do you think is happening here? What are they trying to do?
I think the Democratic Party is in a free fall. They keep making up different bits of data every time I hear interviews. Let me just give you some new data that's actually driven by analysts who deep dived into the reality of one of the big themes that we're talking about here. The shutdown ostensibly was also going to be requiring that we change the one big beautiful bill, the legislation that was so important in cleaning up the fraud in Medicaid. And just to be clear about this, there was fraud, we argued at the time, that was allowing federal tax dollars to pay for illegal immigrants around the country to get free health care. We were told that wasn't happening. We were making it up. And finally, we just got our best people on this job. Just got the data back. Are you ready for this, Rob?
Yeah.
The amount of money just in the past few months from just the first states that are in this program being audited, over $1 billion. Imagine that. $1 billion, that's with a B, of money spent from U.S. taxpayers in just a couple states who refuse to deal with the reality that they are insuring illegal immigrants. So take California as an example. They are very proud to pay for full dental, vision, all kinds of services for illegal immigrants until they have to pay for it. Yeah. But it's not right for taxpayers in Texas and Florida that have to ante up extra money to pay for that debt. And they keep changing the topic whenever we try to focus them in on the reality. What they want for this shutdown is to get rid of all the fraud, waste, and abuse safeguards that we put into place, working hard, just voted in the law. I just don't see an off-ramp for them. I have no idea why they're doing it. It doesn't make sense other than pure political.
What do you do with Obamacare that they've been trying to save forever? It obviously doesn't work. The funding mechanism was the mandate on the younger people that it was unconstitutional, so now you don't have that money coming in. What the hell do you do with this thing? It obviously is failing, but nobody wants to say it.
Well, the ACA is having big issues, but to even begin to address those problems, you need to have people in offices at CMS working hard with better ideas. If you furlough your staff and you shut the government down, you're not going to get better ideas. You're going to get no ideas, which, again, I think is part of the calculus. They don't have a game plan. And I should point out, despite what I just said about being down on manpower, we still have open enrollment season for Medicare. If you're Medicare age, I just joined, by the way, just turned 65, go to Medicare.gov or 1-800-Medicare. It's your social safety net program at Crown Jewel. No Republicans are touching it. No Democrats are touching it. It's intact and ready for you. Take advantage of it. Open enrollment.
Happy birthday, Dr. Oz. Looking good at 65, my man. We appreciate you coming on. Good to see you. All right, how the United States can produce rare earth minerals here and cut China off at the knees. A conversation we've been looking forward to with EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin coming up next.
You know Rob Finnerty. He's smart, bold, and stands strong for your values. Rob is fighting for you. Watch Finnerty weeknights only on Newsmax.
Think of all the places that could expose you to identity theft and financial loss. It only takes one mistake at your bank, hospital, or employer for a criminal to gain access to your personal information. And if they do, you and your money are at risk.
I thought I'd be the last person on earth this would happen to.
It was devastating. $110,000 of my hard-earned money gone.
1 in 3 U.S. consumers have been a victim of identity theft. Are you willing to risk your financial future? With LifeLock, if your identity is compromised, we'll step in and fix it so you don't have to. Guaranteed. Our dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialists handle your case from start to finish. They contact institutions on your behalf, dispute fraudulent charges, close compromised accounts, and even procure legal support, far beyond the capabilities of your bank or credit card company.
The bank didn't help me. The police department didn't help me. It was LifeLock who had my back on all this.
It was handled and taken care of. I didn't have to do anything.
In fact, we're so confident that restoration is guaranteed. Plus, LifeLock offers the $1 Million Protection Package with reimbursement up to $1 million for stolen funds, experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses up to $3 million in total.
When I opened my mail and I had a check from LifeLock, I just started crying. They made me whole.
Act now to save 35% off an annual plan for your first year. Your membership includes identity monitoring and alerts, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist, and the LifeLock $1 Million Protection Package. Don't face identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock, the leader in identity theft protection. Call 800-710-4645 or visit lifelock.com/get35 to get 35% off your first year.
We realize some home maintenance jobs aren't worth the risk.
That's when we call Leaf Filter to protect our gutters.
Leaf Filter's patented filter technology keeps debris out of your gutters for good, guaranteed. Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or visit leaffilter.com.
I lost 110 pounds. You couldn't tell at all because of my excess skin. Sono Bello changed that in one visit.
Introducing the new Lift EX, the just one visit, total body transformation everyone is talking about.
I am super happy with my results.
I decided to give Sono Bello a try. Look at me, I have a silhouette. You can see my waist.
Lift EX is Sono Bello's breakthrough 360-degree body lift alternative. Our body contouring experts sculpt, tighten, and lift your stomach, waist, thighs, and backside, all in just one visit with less downtime.
Sono Bello targeted the areas diet exercise could not do. I found me again.
Sono Bello has over 50,000 five-star reviews, and Lift EX is exclusively available at Sono Bello, America's #1 cosmetic surgery specialist. Book your free, personalized consultation today. Easy monthly plans make your best body more affordable than ever.
This year is my year thanks to Sono Bello.
Call Sono Bello for your free consultation today.
We are discussing critical minerals and rare earths, and we're going to be signing an agreement that's been negotiated over a period of 4 or 5 months. In about a year from now, we'll have so much critical mineral and rare earths that you won't know what to do with them. They'll be worth about $2.
This is a $8.5 billion pipeline that we have ready to go.
That's right. It's all ready to go.
Just getting started.
And we're doing a real job on rare earth.
So rare earths, right? Very important for things like technology, defense, medical, things like that. Anything technological, rare earths are critical for, and we're in a tough spot right now with China. So the Australian Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese at the White House earlier, this $8.5 billion agreement to boost our access to those critical minerals that they call rare earths. It is a strategic hedge against China, which just announced a massive export restriction on those materials. They produce nearly 70% of in China, so they hold a lot of them, and they have a lot of clout there. Trump was asked earlier if he feels that China is being disrespectful to the United States by puffing their chest out like this. Here was his response.
I think China's been very respectful of us. They're paying tremendous amounts of money to us as in the form of tariffs. As you know, they're paying 55%. That's a lot of money. China's paying 55% and a potential 155% come November 1st, unless we make a deal. I think when we finish our meetings in South Korea, China and I will have a really fair and really great trade deal together.
We hope that can happen, but as it stands, that's not happening. The U.S. does, though, sit on 1.9 million metric tons of rare earths here in the U.S., the 7th largest in the world. Others believe that that estimate is low. It could be double that amount. The EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin joins us now. He's actually in West Memphis, Arkansas, on another story that we're going to talk about here in a minute. But first, we just want to start, and it's good to see you again. Let's talk about these minerals, and that we have a ton of this stuff underneath our feet. We buy them mostly from China, though, and we're obviously trying to detour over to Australia now. What is being done at your level, though, to perhaps turn this into a country that can refine rare earths the way that China does?
Permitting. EPA has the tools to be able to really slow things down, and EPA has the ability to really speed things up. And President Trump has been emphasizing the need for speed. This is an issue related to national security. There are economic advantages. There are environmental advantages as well, because we here in the United States tap into these supplies better, safer than so many other countries elsewhere around the world. The other thing that President Trump did when he came in is he created a National Energy Dominance Council, and he brought together all these different agencies with our own equities, our own jurisdiction, and instead of us being siloed off, we work with the Department of Interior, Department of Energy, the Secretary Department of Commerce, and others, so that we're overlapping, collaborating. We're meeting directly with the president. Our teams are working with each other every single day. It's very important that these agencies aren't siloed off from each other, and instead they're working to get this done as quickly as possible to bring these projects to the United States rather than relying on countries like China.
Is it true that the process of refining these rare earth materials is very polluting, is very bad for our air? Is that true, or is that just, is that something that we can work through and we can actually be refining these here in the United States and feel good about it?
Yes, we should do. We need to do this work here in the United States and feel great about it. This is the path forward. There's a process for mining. There's remediation work and considerations. There's permits that are involved in this process. And we should be talking about ways to continue to innovate, to be able to tap into these resources better, where you're getting more of an advantage economically and you're getting more of an advantage environmentally. This is one of the biggest differences between the Trump EPA and our predecessors, is that we choose to both protect the environment and grow the economy. Right. It's not a binary choice between the two. We choose both.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, I know how critical these are, and what China's doing right now, I know, is a pretty big threat. So it seems to me like, let's bring this stuff home. Let's, all of these things that we are reliant on other countries for, so many of the things that we're relying on China for, let's start bringing them home. And it looks like you're at the forefront of being able to do that with rare earths at EPA. I want to ask you about West Memphis, Arkansas. And you have major corporations pouring in to this area. You have a rare earth mine recently opened in Wyoming. Corporations are pouring in there. But let's talk about Google announcing a $4 billion new data center being built in West Memphis, Arkansas, which is where you are right now. Talk about what that means for that area.
It's big as far as jobs with the construction, long-term, in operating these sites. This is something that I would certainly give a tremendous amount of credit to Governor Sarah Sanders and her team here in Arkansas to bring this investment into this state. We're seeing, because of President Trump's leadership and the team, billions, trillions of investment coming into the United States being announced starting now, and as we'll see more projects in the coming months and years. This is a partnership between the state of Arkansas. You're seeing Entergy, which is the big energy company in the area, and Google. And we're not talking about millions, as you pointed out. We're talking about a $4 billion investment, which Google and Arkansas says might just be the start of many more projects they're hoping to come.
It's wild how much money how much private money he's got being poured into the country. It doesn't get nearly the attention that it deserves, because $4 billion going into Arkansas is a tremendous amount of money. The EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is something where the first project that they just broke ground on has a timeline of hopefully being completed by January of 2027. And they have a vision for construction of projects that will last over the course of 5, 6, 7 years. So you think of all those construction jobs as well as all of those jobs long-term to operate these sites. And they're building it because here in Arkansas, they rely on nuclear power, which is big. On top of that, when you think of the benefit and how they've constructed this deal, for energy demands, local ratepayers are actually going to see a net benefit into the billions. They estimate $1.1 billion of net benefit to the Entergy ratepayer because of it.
It is. It's something. It's a tremendous amount of money pouring in from all sorts of different places. Lee, thanks so much. Good to see you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Rob.
A woman in the UK is gang raped. The predictable truth that the media is very desperate to conceal. Coming up next in News from the Left.
My name is Mike Hammond, founder of Signal Relief. Much of my career has been working in construction, and I love the outdoors and horses. That active lifestyle is what has caused my body to hurt. I didn't want to let this affect my family or my life, and that's what motivated me to create a team to build the Signal Relief patch. Clinically shown that over 85% felt relief in just 72 hours, with almost half feeling significant relief in just 15 minutes. It's drug-free, reusable, and it comes with a money-back guarantee. Whether it's your neck, back, knee, shoulder, or just aches and pains, this patch can give you your life back. When I gave my best friend a patch with tears in his eyes, he said it was the first time in 16 years he did not hurt. Join the hundreds of thousands who found relief. I'm asking you to try the Cigna Relief patch today by going to our website. If you're thinking about buying, it means you need one. You have nothing to lose. I promise the patch works.
Hi, my name is Damian Clark. And if you have both Medicare and Medicaid, I have some really encouraging news that you'll definitely want to hear. Depending on the plans available in your area, you may be eligible to get extra benefits with the Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. These plans have a $0 monthly plan premium. Most plans include the Humana Healthy Options Allowance. Get over $1,000 a year. That's $85 a month to help pay for covered over-the-counter items like vitamins, pain relievers, first aid supplies, and more. The Healthy Options Allowance is loaded onto a prepaid card each month, and whatever you don't spend carries over from each month. Call today to learn about all the items covered. You could have $0 copays on hundreds of prescriptions all year long, including select brand name drugs. All plans have $0 copays for covered preventive dental services, which include 2 free cleanings a year, as well as coverage towards fillings. They also have vision coverage, including vision exams and a yearly allowance towards eyewear, such as lenses or contacts, and hearing coverage, which includes routine hearing exams and coverage towards hearing aids. Plus, your doctor, hospital, and pharmacy may already be part of our large Humana networks. So call the number on your screen now to speak with a licensed Humana sales agent. Wouldn't you love benefits like a monthly allowance to help pay for covered over-the-counter items? So if you have Medicare and Medicaid, call the number on your screen now and speak with a licensed Humana sales agent. If you're eligible, they can even help enroll you over the phone in a Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. And remember, annual enrollment ends on December 7th. So call now. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
As parents, we all want the same thing, to see our kids active, happy, and confident. What if there was an easy way to play that challenges their minds and bodies? Introducing the Gibbon Slackboard, the world's first slackline-based balance board. Slackboard is a great way to develop their coordination and have hours of fun.
I like to play games and have challenges with the family.
It's hard, but it's really fun.
It's an engaging way to build focus, concentration, and a growth mindset. Every minute on the Slackboard is a minute off the screen, helping them stay calm throughout the day.
My 3 girls really enjoyed playing with it. I just put the board out there for them to play with, and I would say maybe the whole hour that we're outside, they're going on and off the board.
Designed with safety in mind, it's ready to use out of the box, anytime, anywhere. The Slackboard, simple, effective, and made for play. Endless fun, a lifetime of benefits. Get yours today at gibbon-usa.com.
Welcome back. Time now for news from the left. A former DOJ attorney who was fired for refusing to sign a brief that designated Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man, as a terrorist. On 60 Minutes, advocating for, I guess, the rights of gang members who come into our country illegally.
Whether Mr. Abrego Garcia is or isn't a member of MS-13 or a terrorist or anything else is beside the point. What matters here is that they did everything they did to him in violation of his due process rights. What's to stop them if they decide they don't like you anymore? To say you're a criminal, you're a member of MS-13, you're a terrorist.
I wonder how many Americans think that illegals, criminals, people that come into the country illegally and are also members of foreign gangs, how much due process is necessary to appease these people? I mean, there's been some level of due process. How much is needed to make these people feel like they still live in this bastion of freedom and acceptance? Next up, former Biden White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre pushing her new book, pretending to reform herself as an independent because of what they did to Joe Biden, and also lying through her teeth.
When we talk about the mental acuity, and again, I take this very, very seriously.
Yeah.
I never saw anyone who wasn't there. I saw someone who was always engaged. I saw someone who understood policy, pushed us on the policy, and also understood history.
Going back to her natural hair color. Next up, Robert De Niro says rural conservatives would think like him if they actually got the real news.
They're used to seeing Trump do his stuff, and they talk and they listen, and that's the truth to them because they don't listen to anything else except somewhere way out in the Midwest, somewhere out in the out west, in certain places, the rural places. That's the truth because he gets the airtime, and I think that we need more airtime.
By the way, here's the host of the show that he was on, Eugene Daniels, and after his heartfelt comments to rural Americans about getting the real news, he decided to call Trump advisor Stephen Miller a Nazi.
He will not want to leave. He set it up with his, I guess he's the Goebbels of the cabinet, Stephen Miller. He's a Nazi. Yes, he is, and he's Jewish, and he should be ashamed of himself.
Well, if only you were watching the real news, you'd understand, like MSNBC weekends. And finally, in the UK, 3 men charged with raping a woman in East Essex, England. A tweet from Sky News says, oh, just 3 men charged with raping somebody. No pics, no names of the suspects, no comments allowed on it. You go deeper into the article, you find Karin al-Danasert, Ibrahim al-Sheikh, and Abdullah Ahmadi are the suspects in the story. We see this time and time again with stories from across the pond. All right, Trump meets a trash talker face-to-face at the White House next.
Closed captioning brought to you by MagnaLife Leg and Back Pain Relief for pain-related symptoms of sciatica.
Your sciatic nerve pain is real. Here's what real customers have to say about MagnaLife Leg and Back Pain Relief Cream. It provided me with the only relief for my sciatica.
Available at your local retailer.
At Interactive Brokers, independent RIAs work with the best research and trading tools designed to help them outperform the markets. Meet them at Interactive Brokers Investors Marketplace for advisors. Advisors at Interactive Brokers keep all they earn on our low-cost platform with no ticket fees or custody charges, low margin rates, and high interest earned on idle cash. To get better results, get a better platform. The best informed investors choose Interactive Brokers.
Almost everything we do requires balance, but studies show our balance worsens as we age. What if there was a safe, fun, and effective way to improve your balance? Introducing the Gibbon Slackboard, the world's first slackline-based balance board. Just 5 minutes a day can improve your balance, enabling you to improve performance or simply reduce your risk of falling.
I use the board about twice per week, maybe 5 to 10 minutes tops. And I've noticed that just in that short amount of time, I've been able to improve my balance.
The Slackboard keeps your foot just a few inches off the ground for safety. And with our Balance app, you'll get free guided videos that deliver results fast.
I really feel that the Slackboard is going to help improve my quality of life and to avoid any injuries that can happen as you get older.
The Slackboard makes balance training simple, fun, and effective for your entire family. Own your balance. Get your Slackboard today at gibbon-usa.com.
The best investment we can make is in our health.
With our Aquasana water filter, we know we're drinking cleaner, healthier water.
And that will pay the highest dividends.
Cheers.
Now up to 50% off at aquasana.com.
Do you have a box of videotapes, film reels, or photos that are degrading?
Legacy Box professionally converts them to DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
Legacy Box is simple and safe, with over 1 million satisfied customers.
Visit legacybox.com.
Imagine this banana is a burner less lethal launcher, capable of shooting rock-hard kinetic and tear gas mixed with pepper chemical irritants.
The ammo can incapacitate an attacker from 60 feet away without causing death.
This Byrna less lethal launcher is legal in all 50 states. No permits required.
Over 600,000 Byrna pistol launchers have been sold to government agencies, law enforcement agencies, and to private citizens.
Do you want to know what the Byrna less lethal launcher looks like? Visit Byrna.com.
Finally tonight, classic Trump moment today. The leader of Australia at the White House, and an Aussie reporter asked Trump about the foreign ambassador Kevin Rudd, who badmouthed Trump in the past, called him a village idiot and the most destructive president in history. This question was asked as Rudd was sitting right across from the president. Take a look.
If you said bad, then maybe he'll like to apologize. I really don't know. Did an ambassador say something bad about him? Don't tell me. I don't. Where is he? Is he still working for you? You said bad?
Before I took this position, Mr. President.
I don't like you either. I don't, and I probably never will.
I probably never will. Rob Finnerty's here. Finnerty's up next.
Yes, good to see you, Rob. You see that guy, by the way? That's not Trump's kind of guy across the table. If you take it, by the way, the Australian accent, I just like the accent. So I have a tough time focusing on everything else because I like the accent.
It's a good accent. It does have it has a nice way about it.
Are you feeling all right? A little under the weather?
No, I'm dinged up, but I'm here because I love my audience.
I like that. Playing hurt, yeah. Rob Schmitt.
Good to see you.
You too, Rob.